started. Welcome everyone, this is On Just Restart. I am joined by Brandon from What About Nintendo. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very good, very good.
Cool. So we're gonna go ahead and get started really quickly. But there's a couple things. One, I forgot to share the stream.
I'm sharing it on Twitter right now.
Two, I guess I should go over the outline. So, you know, admittedly, there has been kind of like, at least personally, like, since E3, you know, there's been so much information that we got, and it's kind of like we're like in a different time of the year now. So in terms of like gaming media, it's like we kind of have to shift, you know what I mean? Like, we have to shift in the kind of content we talk about, how we talk about it. Like, the first half of the year is kind of more speculation. Now it's kind of be maybe a little bit more about talking more about actual games. You know, so there's that to consider. So, you know, we're kind of going through a bit of a shift, and at least personally, it is also a bit of a hangover because there was so much to look at and sift through, you know, so a bit of an adjustment period. But despite all of that, you know, despite the struggle to think about what we're going to be talking about, there are still things to talk about. So that brings me to the outline. All right, we're going to be talking about this cross-play debacle that's been going on between Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, and Fortnite coming out on the Switch. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Mario Tennis Aces. I haven't gotten the game yet, but I've heard quite a few things. Maybe you guys can sort of bring it up to me in the chat. Brandon, I know you've played a bit of it. Well, I don't know if you haven't gotten the demo. Okay, yeah. Game. I played the demo too. So then we'll be talking about potentially there being more third-party support coming to the Nintendo Switch in the future. Then we'll be talking a little bit how the Xenoblade DLC, from what we're seeing from it, how it seems kind of promising and how it compares to the Breath of the Wild DLC we got last year. And then we'll be going into Smash Weekly, which we'll actually start be doing on a weekly basis now because we're getting weekly Smash content. So yeah, that's basically the topics for the night, guys. Hello, Josh. Hey, Black Star Dude. Hey, Sabbath. Hey, Captain Steve. How are you guys doing tonight? Brandon, how are you doing tonight, actually?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. These lights are fucking blinding me, though, I have to say. But, dude, I was playing some Fortnite with my homies. You were there. You were on the stream when the epicness went
stopped
down.
by for a bit, yeah. I saw the three headshots in like 5 seconds.
Oh, gosh, that was insane.
Yeah.
I've been doing good. Working on some graphics analysis for a certain game, a certain game I'm hyped for.
Can I offer my predictions? When I have my predictions, I'm pretty sure I know what the game is. You haven't told me, but I'm just gonna guess.
No, you haven't.
Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Oh. I can neither confirm nor deny whether or not it is Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Okay.
Cannot do that.
All right. Well, I don't plan on this discussion being very long, maybe about an hour or so. So I guess we should sort of jump into the topics. I see what Savas is saying. He's saying he absolutely loves Mario Tennis Aces. He just wishes there were costumes to unlock, and also we need more unlockable characters. But overall, it's a really good game. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. I could change the order of the topics. That's another possibility. Yeah, we could do that. I'll just change the order of the topics. We'll talk about Mario Tennis Aces first. So, Brandon, from what you've heard, what are your, I guess, surface thoughts about Mario Tennis Aces?
Yeah, obviously I don't have the game, but I've been hearing a lot, as you said. And it seems that the story mode was kind of, the way they showed it was kind of misleading. They showed a lot of, like, the really cool levels, but there seems to be a lot, of repetitiveness. Like, they kept showing different types of levels every time they showed it, but it turns out like all the types we saw is pretty much all the types there is, and they just do it over and over and over again. So in that way it's slightly disappointing, but I've heard the multiplayer itself is actually really good. And I mean, if it plays anything like the demo, it's great. And apparently they fixed the online too. It's very, very smooth now, instead of it was kind of like laggy before a lot, and it was like very high input lag on some or certain matches. Apparently that's pretty much all gone. So yeah, surface level thoughts. It's not amazing, but I mean, I didn't really expect a Mario Tennis game to be, but it's a good game from what I can tell. I definitely want to pick it up eventually.
Okay. So for me, right, from what I've heard and from what I played of the demo, like, I don't think I'll be picking it up. It's not because I don't think it's a good Mario Tennis game, but the thing is that it's, from what I've heard, the mechanics are very good. It's very well fleshed out, you know. But they also have more classical controls, so you can just classical style. You can play it like kind of more like a standard tennis game, or more like this Aces style, which people are comparing it to like having fighting game elements thrown in there. And there's a lot of ways to mix it up. So in that way, it sounds really cool. And it even has motion control. So there's several different ways to play and go about this game, and that's all really cool. But here's the thing. From what I'm hearing, it seems like the multiplayer aspects, the online multiplayer aspects are pretty good. But the single-player aspects of it seem to be kind of limiting. And for me, when I look at a $60 game, and I'm on a limited budget, and I don't have many friends to play with, it's kind of like, well, if it doesn't offer that much of a single-player experience, I'm not feeling it. So I'm probably not going to get Mario Tennis Aces in its current form. Maybe down the line, it has a discount, and there's some additional DLC added, and at that point maybe I'll give it another consideration. But right now I'm kind of looking more towards Wolfenstein 2, Octopath Traveler, games like that that are literally just they're right around the corner. So I think actually Wolfenstein 2 comes out this Friday, so you know.
Oh my, I did not know that actually.
Yeah, June 29th. So yeah, I'm just not gonna pick up Mario Tennis Aces, so that's kind of where I'm standing on that game.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it was Octopath Traveler or Mario Tennis Aces, and I went, oh, Octopath Traveler. I was like, yep, getting Octopath. But luckily, I have the Gamers Club unlocked, you know, Best Buy thing that they just shut down. I still have it. I have it for like just November 2019, so I'm like good to go. So luckily, I have that, so I can get like every $60 game for only $48. So it's not as bad for me, but it's still like, I'd rather like pay, you know, like $30 to $40 for this, not almost $50. So it's just like, I just don't think sports games are worth it, to be honest. Like, they're just not worth that much to me. I don't care about them enough for them to be $60 experiences. Like,
see, the thing is, like, it's been a while since I've had like a Mario sports game, right? But I used to play them a lot as a kid. Like on GameCube, we played them a lot. But it's been years since then. I'm an adult now. Back then, I was a kid, so it's kind of like a different perspective. Also, I didn't really buy that many games, and I got the games were given to me, or I got them in some way. But like, I've had a lot of fun in the past with Mario Strikers, Mario. I don't remember what Mario Baseball was called, but I had a lot of fun with that. And I remember the Mario Baseball game back on the Game Boy. That was a lot of fun. So you know, I've had fun with Mario sports titles in the past. And again, I think this is a good game. It's a good multiplayer game. I mean, if you like tennis, if you like Mario sports games, this is right up your alley. I just think, from what I've heard, as a single player, it's only about a 4-hour campaign. There's not much to it. There's not much, you know, adding and mixing it up. That it doesn't seem worth $60 to me currently. So, you know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, my Mario sports titles are... I haven't actually played that many, to be honest. I didn't even own this, but I played at my friend's house. I played Mario Tennis on the N64. That was pretty dope. I thought the courts in that were really good. Some of the courts in Aces actually kind of remind me of those, so that's good. And then I played Striker's Charge. That was like the one I played all the time. It was amazing. To be honest, like Strikers over Mario Tennis any day, easy.
Well, I would just love just like tackling people into the lightning wall.
Right? That's so good.
It was very aggressive, but that's the thing about this game, though. It's very aggressive, too. You can be very aggressive. There's a lot of action elements thrown into it, and that's what's really cool about it. So it's not that I don't think the game is fun. If I get a chance to get it at a cheaper price, or you know, if they add more compelling content to the game, I'll be on that. But I just have other games I want to focus on right now. But let's see what you guys think in the chat. Let's see. Sal was saying he just saw the motorcycle thing in Lab was not compatible with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Yes, I literally just saw that before the stream started. We'll get to that in a moment. My camera's kind of lagging. Well, I blame my computer. Sorry. Thank you, Kevin Govier. Yeah, Galaxy 2 and Metroid Music are some of my favorite like songs. So I'll usually put those in the streams. Yeah. But actually, let's talk about that. Did you hear that the Mario Kart 8 is now going to add... They just added compatibility with Labo.
I did not, but that is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That is awesome.
Where is my motorcycle Labo set? Is it
you lucky son of a bitch. Having Labo. It's not that lucky. I mean, it's not like they're sold out. I'm just broke.
Yep, this is it.
There you
So
go.
I have built, I have the Nintendo Labo, so I built the cardboard set. Hopefully you guys can see it, right? Like this all actually works. You put the Joy-Cons in here. You would put the screen in here, and it works. I'm not gonna do it all right now, obviously, but
Right.
like, if it's already ready to go, I might try it out later tonight. So that's pretty interesting.
That's
So like,
pretty
it's kind
cool.
of like that. Like they just added like content like that was free, random. Like I could see them doing something like similar with Mario Tennis Aces as well. I'm not sure if they'll add Labo compatibility, but they could.
They might.
They could. Yeah, in the future, they could add Labo compatibility with that. That could give it extra life in the future. And there's gonna be DLC for Tennis Aces. They've already announced some character DLC, right?
Yeah, I think it's.
Yep.
Isn't it free? I think all they've announced right now is free DLC. And you can unlock them early from like doing good in tournaments and stuff.
Yeah, so I can see this game having life for sure. And then again, like if you're into Mario sports titles, if you're into online multiplayer, I think this game is definitely gonna.
I definitely thought it was super fun. I mean, I sucked at it so much. That live stream when I played the demo was all rage. I won like 2 matches. The comms are so hard, and I thought I sucked like really bad because the comms were beating me. And then I looked up the reviews, and people apparently say that the comms are like god tier for some reason. So I feel less bad about that now, but I still sucked. Like there's no getting around it. I was just bad. I think it's, as you were saying, like it's kind of like a fighting game. It's got like fighting game mechanics, and I'm not good at fighting games, so that makes perfect sense now. I understand completely. It's all making sense now. But yeah, I think fundamentally it's a great game. It's just there's so many other games I want to get way more than it that are coming out soon, and so I'll get it eventually though.
I'm not sure. We'll see. It kind of depends
I'm
how things
definitely
pan out. So any sort of like final thoughts on Aces? If you're into Mario sports games, if you were worrying about the gameplay is 100% solid. It has a good online experience from what I've heard. So if you're into that, definitely go for it. So yeah, I think we're ready to move on to the next topic.
Sure.
Okay, so let me get there. Come on, I need someone to handle the technical stuff for me. So there's this bit of a crossplay debacle going on. Now the crossplay debacle kind of relates to, well, let me start from the beginning. So Fortnite came out on Nintendo Switch during E3 week, like a week and a half ago at this point.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And the game's free. Any platform is free to play, but one of the cool things about it is it was offering crossplay. So if you have Fortnite on your Nintendo Switch, you can play with people on PC, on Xbox, on smartphones and stuff like that, but you can't play with people on your PS4. Now, that kind of sucks, but it's not something that was entirely unexpected because Sony has been very competitive in that way, or combative. Like, they haven't allowed crossplay with their competitors, Nintendo and Xbox. Like, this is where things get really bad. So the thing is that Fortnite is not a Sony game. It's made by Epic Games. They have their own Epic accounts for each of their games. You can create an Epic account, and that ties in all of your purchases for the game. So if you've been playing Fortnite for the last year or so, and you've bought a whole bunch of skins and costumes, and you've been building up throughout the different seasons, and you have a whole bunch of stuff there, if you cannot use your Epic account that you played on your PS4 on your Nintendo Switch. Sony is blocking that access, not Epic Games. So they're literally blocking account access from a different company to be used on different platforms that aren't related to their own. And that's what's kind of pissing people off a lot. And then Sony stock has actually dropped dramatically because of it. And it's just kind of been really weird. And they even had well, I'll talk about that in a moment, but it's just kind of crazy and kind of unfortunate because I wish I could play with my Switch and my PS4 so I could have multiple people playing in my household together at the same time. But Sony's kind of not really being pro-consumer here, which is unfortunate. What are your thoughts on this, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean they've kind of started doing the opposite of what made the PS4 do so well. When the PS4, was first coming out, all the advertisement was, look how much more pro-consumer we are than that crappy Xbox that will make you stay online, won't have a disk drive, and all this stuff. And it's just like, look how awesome we are because we have a disk drive and you can play offline and all this stuff. And then now they're just like, well, screw all those people. We've made our money. We're no more pro-consumer now. It's like, come on, man. Like, and I've heard some people be like, oh, well, Sony's earned the right to not be pro-consumer. I'm like, yeah, they've also earned the right to fuck up the next generation when nobody wants to buy their stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this is just, it's definitely a double-edged sword. Because I think it's worse for them than if they should just do crossplay. Like, it's hurting you more than it's helping them at this point.
I have two different perspectives on this. So, and one part of me kind of agrees that this is hurting Sony, right? Especially taking into consideration Nintendo and Microsoft are teaming up here. Like, they literally launched an ad. Nintendo launched an ad where you saw people playing with Xbox controllers and with Nintendo Switch controllers Minecraft together. Like, they showed that. Like, Nintendo was literally advertising both Nintendo and Microsoft, like, hardware together, like in one commercial together, like that. Just the idea that's like, whoa, what, these two companies are actually advertising their games and systems in the same commercial. That's just like it's mind-blowing to me. But it also kind of functions as, not only is it like an incredible sort of like moment to see that, but also they're taking a subtle jab at Sony, because Sony will not do that, right? And I think, having this advertisement will sort of help to hurt the image of Sony. But at the same time, I feel like Sony has been so strong at marketing. Sony is the market leader, in terms of like console sale, like actual hard home console sales, and like they've been pretty much number one for quite some time already. They have like a good foothold in the industry, and they have a good foothold with their audience and their market. That I don't think it's gonna hurt them that much. And on top of that, so like, my brother's starting to get into Fortnite now, right? And my cousins, we all live together. My cousin, my brother, and myself, we all live together. And I've been playing Fortnite on PS4, but now it's on Switch. I have the options of playing on one or the other, right? My cousin has a PS4, so we've been sort of playing together, but we can only play two people at a time. If crossplay was available between the Switch and the PS4, all three of us could play at the same time. So I could almost see a situation where my brother will decide, oh, should I get a Switch or should I get a PS4? And he might get a PS4 if it means he can play Fortnite with us. And that's what Sony's going for. That's why they don't allow crossplay, because they can, force people to end up just picking up the other console because they can play with their friends in that way. If Fortnite, right, if you could play it on Switch, hey, my brother would probably get a Switch instead. So I'm not saying he's get one or the other, but he's probably thinking about it, and that could sway him. He's not gonna really care. Oh, Sony won't let me do crossplay. Well, I'm not gonna get upset about it. I'm just gonna get PS4. Like, that's the kind of thinking that they have, because it's gonna make them money. It's gonna get people to buy their systems.
Right. Yeah, and there's definitely that side of it, but I think their image is just really bad in a lot of ways right now, as far as like crossplay goes. So they're getting a lot of negative press. A lot of negative press right now, which is not good. So,
but people are talking about them, though. And sometimes when people are talking about you, negative press can still be good press. There has always been that argument.
There is. I just think what made them win this generation so far has been being pro-consumer. So if they stop that, it's not the best of ideas. That's literally why they out of the gate just blew past Microsoft, because their console wasn't like that much better in terms of exclusives at the time. Like, PlayStation didn't really have that many good exclusives either for a couple, like its first year or two. So it wasn't exclusives. They had the more powerful console, but that is proven to not really help all that much in the console wars. You can just look at things like the Wii, the Switch. There's just over and over again, the having more power doesn't necessarily win you the generation. It was the fact that they had the, consumers on their side with all the pro-consumer things they were doing. So, by itself, I don't think, crossplay is going to kill them or anything. But I think they just need to, stray from the path of anti-consumer, because that will fuck you over really bad.
I like what you said. when you talked about how Sony sort of got their stranglehold, you know, on first place this generation by being pro-consumer. Because when when PS4 was revealed and when Xbox One was revealed, a lot of the things that Xbox One showed off were not pro-consumer at all, right? And that's how PS4 basically won. They didn't have, like you said, they didn't have too many great exclusives. The features of PS4 weren't really that different from PS3. It was just like, hey, everything you've been able to love and enjoy from games in the past, you can still do on PlayStation 4. And that's how they won. That's how they had such a great lead. I just think that's a really interesting point, because that's how they got to first place. But now that either they are in first place and they're really high up there, they're in this seat where they can afford to be conceited and really nickel and dime people and squeeze out as much money as they can. So they are. That's kind of the thing, right? Like, because they're in such a high position now, they are going to do whatever they can to squeeze out as much money as they can. Before they couldn't afford it, now they can. And we've seen this happen all throughout the history of gaming, actually. Like, there was a point in time where Nintendo did some pretty sketchy things in terms of third-party support and controls back in the 80s and the early 90s. And, you know, they got humbled. So they had to start, you know, appeasing third parties and trying to, you know, be more pro-consumer. And of course, Xbox, like we just talked about, they also weren't very pro-consumer, and now they are very pro-consumer. You know, because they were on their high horse after the 360. They thought they could get away with doing these anti-consumer things, and they got humbled. And now, you know, they're being more pro-consumer now. So it's just interesting how it's very cyclical. And it's not really about companies being ethical. It's more about companies that are just going to do what it takes to get themselves in your good grace. Us, you know, you being the audience, like whatever audience they're appealing to.
Yeah, it just happens too much, and I see it. You know, you see it like every generation. It's like I really haven't seen one company, like, it doesn't happen very often where one company dominates for 2 generations in a row, because they always screw something over, like in the very last second of the last generation, and then just get a bad footing.
Yeah, another great example, the Wii U. Okay, so the Wii was incredible. So what did Nintendo do? Instead of being like, oh my god, we need to think of a way to completely one-up this and re-excite people, instead they just were hanging on the coattails of the Wii and hoping that just using the Wii branding with the Wii U would have allowed them to succeed. And they didn't do much else. They didn't have a lot of games ready. The advertising was terrible, and the system just wasn't ready, and it wasn't even really much like the Wii at all, and it sucked, right? And guess what? Nintendo got humbled. They reworked things, and now they're kicking ass again with the Switch. I'm fearful that after this really great generation, that Switch 2.0, they may do some anti-consumer things, or, you know, like, it's very cyclical. I wish a company would just be consistent and just do really well, right? I mean, I guess PS1 to PS2, we actually saw them.
Yeah, Sony that was pretty decent.
Yeah, but then PS3, you know, I think they got complacent.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah. So, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat here. Nintendo plus Microsoft equals Banjo-Kazooie in Smash Bros. Ultimate. I really hope so. I think there's a chance, honestly. I know a lot of people think it's like impossible, but I think there's a possibility of that. Sabbath saying, ever since E3, Sony has been getting a lot of hate, honestly. Yeah, I mean, you know, this crossplay thing is affecting them, but I think they probably think it. Their higher ups probably like, it's fine. You know, it's fine. It's not like that meme with the dog in the fire where she's like, oh, this is fine. Everything's fine. You know, I don't think it's that bad for them. No. I think they're in such a great position they can afford it.
The memes online are hilarious. Oh gosh.
Yeah, like I saw one where, because you know the commercial from the Nintendo and Microsoft for Minecraft, it's like survive together, yeah. And then they have a blue one for Sony that just says like nope.
Nope.
Yeah, it's
I always love the ones where it's just Squidward looking out his window and he's Sony, and you just see SpongeBob and Patrick as Microsoft and Nintendo running around having fun, and Squidward's just there like all depressed inside.
Yeah, I saw that one too. That's hilarious. But actually, Timothy, I am kind of interested in Last of Us Part 2, but I had to play Last of Us Part 1, so I haven't played it yet, but seems like something that I would really enjoy. So I'm probably gonna play Last of Us Part 1 soon, and then yeah, I might pick up Last of Us Part 2 later on because it does look pretty good.
I was not interested. I saw people getting stabbed in the face, and like not not like back in like the day where it was like people got stabbed and you were like, oh, whatever. It's like because graphics back then, they were not good enough to really emphasize just how terrifying it is to see people's guts being spilled in front of you in 4K detail. I just can't. I just know things like Attack on Titan. That's fine. Kind of more like anime, less realistic. Like, but you get like super realistic, and I'm just like, I can't do it anymore. It's just not my thing. So not for me, but it looked pretty cool if you're into that.
Yeah, I also see that no you here in the chat as well as Jared as well. Yeah, I got a little confused about when you were saying GAW, but yeah, you were talking about Gears of War, not Gears After War or something.
Gears After War.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, Gears of War 4 wasn't an exclusive.
Was it not? Oh, I thought it was.
Right, I've always considered it like a Microsoft property, but I guess it technically isn't. So, I guess we're kind of ready to move on to the next topic. So, more third-party support. When I'm saying that, I am referring to the Nintendo Switch getting more third-party support. And, like, I think it's, like, compared to the Wii U, where we're at right now, I feel like the Nintendo Switch is doing pretty well. Like, we're getting a Dragon Ball FighterZ port, Wolfenstein 2 is coming out next week, we've been playing Fortnite on Switch, things are...
Right.
Compared to the Wii U, it's way, way better. But at the same time, there's a lot of games that are being announced on other systems that are not either A, they're not coming, or B, they're not coming until way, way later, and they haven't even been announced yet.
Right.
One great example, Resident Evil 2 Remake. Like, that was a game that I was like, ooh, I really want this, but it's not coming to Switch. It might be announced later on, but it's not coming out to Switch now, and it for sure isn't going to come out the same day as the other systems. Like, even if they announce it like a few months from now, it's going to come out afterwards, and that bothers me. That bothers me a lot. But, during E3, Reggie, there was an interview, and he talked about how the third-party situation is pretty strong right now, and it's going to be getting better come around 2019 time. And I understand that, because I feel like by that point, the Switch should, because the development cycle should be kind of catching up, right? Because it takes 2 to 3 years to make a video game. Most developers weren't in on the Switch at first, because they needed to see it to succeed before they were willing to invest in it. And now the Switch has succeeded. Well, developers have known about it for a while now, but it takes usually more than 6 months to a year to really, start making plans with the Switch in mind. Development takes a while. So by 2019, supposedly, we will be seeing a lot more third-party support because the development cycles for games will start catching up. What do you think about that, Brand? Do you think that's the case? Do you think it's still going to be not quite as good as the competition? How do you think it's going to pan out?
I definitely don't think that it's going to be as good as the competition. Like, I just don't. I think there's just too many developers who look at it and just like, it's not a straight port. Nah, it's not worth it. So I don't think it's ever going to get to the point to where it's, like, same exact third parties on, the Nintendo systems we're getting on PlayStation, Xbox. But I do think it's going to get a lot better. At least I would hope. It's kind of worries me because the Switch is in this weird graphical place where, Xbox One gets a lot of third parties, but the Xbox One is really like the original Xbox One is really like the bottom tier, like the barely can run these third party games. It doesn't run them very well. They're low resolution, low frame rates, choppy frame rates, very low, level of details. So when you have to lower it then again on the Switch, I feel like a lot of third party companies just won't. I brought up this comparison when Call of Duty was not announced for the Nintendo Switch. I brought up Call of Duty 3, Black Ops 3 on the Xbox One. It runs like absolute garbage. It runs at like 20 frames per second, like when you're like, oh man, it's smooth now. So it it's terrible. It's horrendous. Like, yeah, sure, the game's on there, but why would you ever want to play it? So it's like the Switch is weaker than this system, and this system's already getting ports that are not good. So I feel like, I just think definitely it's possible. Obviously, we've seen stuff like Wolfenstein 2 come out, and it looks great, runs great, like that's a good game on the Switch. Like that's playable. I just feel like there's too many developers like Activision who don't care and are just gonna like either throw the game on there and it runs like absolute crap, or they're just not gonna do it. But I definitely do think we'll see more. I just think there's definitely gonna be those companies that are just like, I don't really feel like it.
Like EA haven't really done much.
Yeah, gosh.
Right, but
there were indie level games that were not announced for the Switch from EA. Like, how does that happen? How do you do this?
It's just they don't have a good relationship with Nintendo. It's not a money thing. I think it's pretty confident. It's a relationship issue, and that stems from the whole Wii U generation. I think, if I remember correctly,
right.
At one point EA sort of wanted to partner with Nintendo and get like their online service working with their system, and Nintendo was like, nah. Then there was a big kind of fallout between them, and EA hasn't really supported Nintendo. And on top of that, EA has been conducting in several business practices that us, the gamer, aren't really a big fan of. Loot boxes, free to play, pay to win. And these sorts of things aren't really flying too well. I mean, their conference, but for gamers, it's going to be pretty bad. But apparently their stock actually went way up during E3.
Sucked.
Did you hear about that? Their stock actually went way up during E3.
Why? Nobody liked it. People literally fell asleep.
Let me tell you why. Because the people who care and know what they're talking about are the gamers, and we saw that, and we just saw smartphone trash, right? But the people who have the money and are really old and are the investors, they don't really play video games, but they know that mobile games make a lot of money. So when they saw mobile games at EA's conference, guess what they did? They got excited, man. Like, they're like, oh, this is where we should put our money. So that's what happened. And again, a lot of game analysts, a lot of like actual investors don't necessarily know the industry really well, right? For them, it's just another business where they just look at the hard numbers. But sometimes you need that eye test. You have to actually understand, what's actually good. So it's just kind of weird how it all pans out. But man, I'm okay with. I don't really care about EA, to be honest with you. I do think they have some good games, but it's just like they're one of many.
Right. The only thing I care about from them is Anthem, and I don't see that getting on the Switch. No, there's no way they're going to take the time to port that to the Switch. No. Giant open world, like, freakishly beautiful game. No.
Well, they got FIFA, right?
Oh, yeah, FIFA. That's exactly what we all want, right?
No, well, it sounds really well. I mean, it's an important game for a lot of people. So, and that's probably why it's on the system, because that's something that they know will make them a lot of money, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm sure it does pretty well, but for me, no thanks.
Yeah. So, I want to answer a couple questions though. Zach is back. How you doing, man? Is asking, is Octopath considered third party? It's a great question.
Yes.
It's made by third-party developer. It's published by Square Enix, but it's also co-published by Nintendo, if I remember correctly. So it's kind of like a blurred line situation. I would call it a third-party exclusive that Nintendo has helped out with. But it's a product.
It's mostly Square Enix development teams, so.
Yeah. No, it's a Square thing, but Nintendo is. I think they've helped to fund it a little bit, and they are sort of helping to market the game as well. So it's kind of. Yeah, like it's kind of like when Sony or Microsoft, like for example, like I would say like Bloodborne, right? Even though it's exclusive to Nintendo, not to PlayStation systems, right? It's made by From Software, which is a third-party developer. I think Sony published it. Actually, not even then. Yeah, it's even less of that because Sony like published that. But the point being, I would call it like. Yeah, it's a third party technically, but Nintendo's just helping out.
I think only considered first party if they own the rights to the IP itself, and Square owns the rights to the IP. So,
yeah, but it's made by the Bravely Default team, right? And Bravely Default was exclusive to the DS games. Like it's not like that. I'm pretty sure that team is gonna pretty much, probably for the most part, be developing like their main games like that on Nintendo systems. But that's just because that's what works for them. Like, in the future, their things could change, but for now, that's just where they're headed. So
it's very much like a Banjo-Kazooie kind of situation where it felt like a first-party game, but it was definitely a third-party game because Rare owned the IP. And then, you know, they just, when they left,
Rare
Nintendo
was
no longer
also
owned any part of it.
partially owned by Nintendo, though. So it's still not really like that either, because Rare was partially owned by Nintendo, and then they sold their shares to Microsoft.
Right.
So it's slightly different because Nintendo doesn't own Square at all, right? This is just a good partnership. It's just a product of a good relationship between Square and Nintendo, and they, you know, how we're getting games like this. So yeah, it's third party. It's just a third party exclusive that Nintendo's helping out with. You know, but again, when we talk about like these like relationships and third parties and first and second or third, there's a lot of like
it's hard
nuances to it. It's at the end of the day, it's just a label, right? But this game is a Nintendo Switch exclusive. That's not gonna change.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and but it's an example of decent third party support, right? We know Panic Button is gonna be announcing another Switch port later this month, or not like a month or so from now. We're gonna be getting an announcement about what Panic Button is working on, and people have debated, oh, is it a Grand Theft Auto game? Is it a you know, a Fallout game or something like that? You know, so that's another third-party game we could even maybe be seeing this year, right? It kind of reminds me of what we got with Doom. We didn't know about Doom until like weeks before it was coming out. They announced it in Nintendo Direct, and then hey, it's coming out a few weeks from now. So, you know, the third-party situation we might get announced for ports this year, right? And it'll come out this year. But by next year, I think things will be even better. But I still don't think that they're going to be as good as, say, PlayStation, right? Like, it's never going to be that good. Like, because like EA is never going to support Nintendo fully, not anytime soon.
Right.
But again,
yeah, I just think until they can just be like, okay, just straight port, you know, lower the resolution a little bit, you're good, and they just port it over, it's not happening. Like at full, like, you know, Sony and Microsoft level third-party support. But, you know, maybe with the next Switch, I mean, you know, technology is advancing very quickly in the mobile market. And NVIDIA is very good about keeping their technology there advanced.
And actually, apparently, they've made like what, like about $1 billion apparently.
It's so much. Their mobile division does really well for them right now.
They're making a lot of money because of the Switch right now. They're very happy about what's going on with the Switch.
They already have like 2, I think, because they had the X2.
Let me double check how much they made.
Okay, because the Tegra X1 is what's in the Switch, but they already had the X2 like ready to go when the Switch came out. So, and they already are working on and almost finished with another chip after that. So, like the Switch 2 could be a very considerable leap over the Switch we have right now. Add that in maybe the dock, that, you know, 4K dock or something. You could have
please,
you know,
please happen.
A console that is pretty close to the other competition. So even next generation.
They did almost make $1 billion from the Nintendo Switch.
That's
$972 million. Yeah, that's pretty insane. So yeah, things are going really well between Nintendo and NVIDIA.
Yeah, for sure. And the technology is advancing very quickly, so.
Yeah, so next generation, you know, mobile technology is going to be even closer, more competitive, and the Switch is probably going to be, or Switch 2.0, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is, like they're going to be more on par with the competition technology-wise. So I think multi-platform support is going to be even better. It's not going to, and also there's still a lot of hope for the Switch now. Like games can be ported, right?
Yeah.
So you know, I think it's only going to get better from here. It's not going to get worse, which is good news. The Switch has made it that far. It's made it to the point where third parties think it's worth it. And it's a situation where they get better as they adjust their development cycles to include Switch.
Yeah, I mean, some people see the Switch as kind of weak, but the Switch is a technological marvel. Like, the Switch is so powerful for what it is, considering you know, just the fact that it's a handheld that runs home console caliber games. Like it's an insanely powerful handheld. You know, the fact that you can play some games like Smash Ultimate, that doesn't even feel like a handheld game at all. Like, there's some games, you know, that, you know, you kind of feel like, Doom, this kind of, you know, on TV kind of feels a little bit like it's a, you know, you can kind of tell this is a handheld. But something like Smash Ultimate, like, you can't tell at all. Like, 1080p, 60 FPS with amazing graphics.
When Nintendo's, like, whenever it's a game that's designed for Switch, obviously it's going to take better advantage of the hardware, It's gonna have a better, probably it's gonna be designed, you know, to fit that hardware better. It's not gonna be stretched. You know, they're not gonna have to like change things around to make it fit. It's gonna be designed to fit that system. So you're not gonna see like a lot of like low res textures and like, you know, frame rate issues because it's designed for the system. So whenever like that's why Smash looks great. That's why Mario Odyssey looks great. You know, Breath of the Wild was not designed for the Switch. And that had frame rate issues.
That game is definitely...
Even though it was made for weaker hardware,
you can tell.
It had frame rate issues because it wasn't designed for the Switch. Now, you know, if they had more time to get it ready for the Switch, or, you know, when we Zelda game, I'm pretty confident that Zelda game is going to have a much smoother frame rate. Probably still 30 frames per second, as most Zelda games are. That's probably an open world, but it'll probably be closer to a lock to 30.
Yeah, we're not really going to see that many 60 FPS open world games till next generation. Even like the Xbox One X, you don't see that kind of stuff. So
yeah. So let me see what you guys are saying about third-party stuff. Well, this is slightly different, but yeah, Sabbath. Footacaw wants more Nintendo mobile games. What'd you say, Brandon?
Said a lot of Call of Duty talk.
Oh, yeah. Jared's saying, you really think COD or Battlefield franchises would really go and be stupid and not be historically accurate? Come on, they're both well-known games for that stuff. Why question them unless there's evidence? I do always see them like do a lot of research to put in elements like a lot of their games are based off history, and like I would have to go back and play different games, but I mean maybe sometimes take liberties. Like I think Black Ops 3 was set in the future, right? So if it's set in the future, obviously, you know, it's not based off an historical event, but there probably will still be historical context. They do a lot of research for that. They don't just like come up with random stuff and call it a day. So yeah.
Right. Is that the people who are like upset that there are girls in as like one of the main characters in Call of Duty, Black Ops or Battlefield 1?
I mean, my opinion on that, I mean, I think, you know, you should be allowed to take some liberties. It is a game after all.
I mean, right? It's historically accurate. Like that's definitely a point. Yeah, I get that. But like even beyond that, it's historically accurate that there were tons of female fighters in World War II. Like, it's just a thing. And some of them were they got, like, a lot of awards and stuff for doing, like, really, really well. Like, there are some really, really good female fighters in World War II. So it's beyond them being able to take liberties, and people shouldn't be upset about that, is actually historically accurate. So people who say it's not literally don't know what they're talking about. It's just, it's funny to me. Just, like, it's kind of funny to me.
Well, No Filter's bringing up that there's a Blob port that's going to be available.
I did see that on Twitter.
I never got a chance to play it on Wii.
I have no idea what it's about.
You probably... It's a platformer, from what I remember. It's a Blob. But pretty, yeah, it's a platformer. Oh, but it's a platform where you can kind of like color the world out of... Yeah, it's actually really cool. Yeah. I would definitely give it... It's already available on Steam, so...
Good.
Yeah.
Might check it out, then. I mean, probably not, because I have, like, no money.
Well, we'll see. Well, I mean, if it's on Steam and it's been out for a while, it's probably pretty cheap. So, let's move on. Brandon, what do you think about that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country DLC?
Oh, I think it's just like everything I hoped for in this DLC. I mean, we had a podcast where we went and we like tried to predict what the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC was, and for me, I don't quite remember whether you agreed or not, but for me, it was between, you know, two things. Like I wanted them to go in the future or in the past and like have an entirely new like story with new cutscenes, like new voice acting, all of this stuff, and like a new area. And I was like, they're either going to the future or they're going to the past, and this is how it is. And they're going to the past, and there's a whole new area, and there's brand new cutscenes and all this stuff, and even new mechanics. Like the battle mechanics aren't the same completely. Like they changed up some stuff there. I don't fully understand it because that's kind of a game you have to kind of play more to understand the full breadth of the changes, but like, it looks like everything I wanted it to be, so I'm super happy about it.
All right. So, like, I see what they did with this game, and I was always kind of drawing the comparisons to Breath of the Wild and how they handle that DLC, and I feel like they've come a long way. Like, because the thing is, yeah, Nintendo's already dabbling with DLC during the Wii U era, and then obviously the 3DS stuff, but, like, when it came to, like, big single-player adventure games, it's kind of a different beast, you know? Like, it's one thing just to add characters and stages and weapons and stuff. It's another to add, like, content to the main single-player game, right? And you look at what they did with Breath of the Wild, and I was a little underwhelmed by it, right? But what I'm seeing for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it looks like they're handling it way, way better. Now, I think it's cost $30 versus $20, so it is a bit more expensive.
Right.
But they're adding a lot of content. They've obviously optimized the game. You know, they added some free DLC stuff too, like the New Game Plus. But they're also they're gonna add different difficulties. They've added new quests. There's gonna be new. They've been adding new blades, right, and different stuff like that. But then they're adding this new challenge mode, and you're gonna be able to play as Fiora or Fiona, like Fiora or Fiona. Wow. You're gonna be able to play as Shulk. Shulk
there you go.
Yeah. So, like, that's crazy. Like, we never got anything like that in Breath of the Wild. We could play as, like, we got costumes, which are cool, but to be able to play as Shulk, to get, like, actual, like, new voice stuff, new character situations with Shulk, that's something that never happened. That's just a challenge mode. That's not even the story DLC, which is gonna get its own retail version of the game. It's being treated almost as if it's its own new adventure. Right, like you actually start from scratch. You start in a new area, new characters. There's new areas. It's a new story altogether. It's like basically kind of like It is a prologue. It's a prologue to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Right. That's really cool. And so you're getting all of that, and it just seems like a much bigger, nicer package. It is. It's kind of hard to debate. Like, I really like what Breath of the Wild did. Like, they sort of mixed up the gameplay up in certain moments, which is really cool. But I feel like there could have been more. And with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, they're really fleshing everything out. And that is just super, super awesome.
Yeah, I mean, for Breath of the Wild, I was hoping it would be that, like, the story DLC would be the thing that fixed the story in Breath of the Wild. Because I felt like the story in Breath of the Wild was very, like, it all happened before the game starts. Like, it all happens before the game starts, pretty much. Like, there's barely any story advances when you actually play the game. You pretty much learn about everything in like a one cutscene. Like what you just talk to the old man. He tells you like all there is to know about the entirety of the story. And I was really hoping like maybe we could go back in time and play those segments. And we had a bunch of different ideas, even like going to the future, and rebuilding Hyrule, something that made the story like actually be something. And this game is doing that very well.
You're literally going to be able to explore a whole other continent, right? And I mean, I don't know how extensive it's going to be, but like there's a lot of new areas in the Xenoblade 2 Torna DLC versus Breath of the Wild. They didn't actually add any new areas. There's just the Master Trial like challenge area. Well, I mean, I guess if you count the dungeon, like they add a space under the Great Plateau, which is really cool, but it's not like a whole world, like a whole province to explore. Like imagine you know how we have like there's like what, like 6 or 7 different regions in Breath of the Wild. Imagine if they added a whole other region. That's what they're doing in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, maybe more so, because apparently it's being treated as its own adventure, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's way more so. You literally have a different save file for the Torna DLC than the rest of the game. Like you essentially start a brand new game. You just access it through Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's really cool in that way. And not only is there the new continent that you can explore Torna, but you can also explore several of the older continents
that are
like
redone
way before. Yeah, they're different because their towns are not there. There are new towns in different places. Like Civilization was very different. It was like, what was it, like 1,000 years or something like that before the events of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So Civilization it's very different. The maps have a lot of different things on it. The enemies are different too. They're not just the same enemies there, and like the town's gone. Like there's different enemies there. It's pretty extensive.
Now, there's obviously one big key difference between Breath of the Wild and Xenoblade. Xenoblade is very story centric, while Breath of the Wild is more adventure centric. But there's a thing,
Mhm.
right? Breath of the Wild's more adventure-centric, and they didn't add more to explore, you know?
Right.
I realize I'm kind of, like, really, like, railing on Breath of the Wild right now, which is, like, one of my favorite games ever.
I do that all the time when I talk about Breath of the Wild,
Yeah.
even though I love the game to death. Like,
Yeah.
every time I talk about it, I'm just like, there's this flaw and this flaw, and I really hope the next game is good. It's
Yeah.
like, oh wait, I actually really love Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
It was
Actually,
amazing.
fun story.
Masterpiece.
We got a Switch for my dad for Father's Day, and he hasn't, like, growing up he played a lot of, like, he played like Mario 64, Ocarina of Time with us and stuff like that. But he stopped playing like hardcore games, you know, like big like adventure games for years, like over a decade. So he wanted to get a new system, and so we got him a Switch, and he's been playing Breath of the Wild. And apparently, he's been liking it a lot. So it's kind of interesting, like, and he enjoys, you know, the sense of adventure it gives you, and like, you know, being able to handle things in completely different ways. You know, there's one problem, but there's several different ways to like tackle it. So that's really cool,
Right.
and I just wish they added more of that sense of discovery, right, that we got when we first got Breath of the Wild. Like, they didn't do that with a DLC. But Xenoblade Chronicles 2, we're
Right.
going to be able to explore more story, like, and really engage ourselves with the characters and kind of get more of that amazing experience that we got with, you know, playing the original story for Xenoblade 2.
Exactly, yeah. And my dad's the same way. I let him borrow my Switch. I borrowed his PS4, and he just can't get enough of Breath of the Wild. He loves it for all the same reasons. So I totally understand that. Yeah. Overall, though, I'm super excited for this DLC. And it's gonna be amazing. Like, I was really worried it wasn't gonna be worth $30. When I saw $30, I was like, it better be worth it. I had hope and like a lot of fear at the same time, because I was like, oh, it's $30. There's no way they're gonna pull Breath of the Wild on us for $30. Like $20, that's a little bit easier to do, especially, you know, Breath of the Wild didn't have the best story. It was kind of, you know, not. It was. You know, you maybe shouldn't have expected this grand story from a game that has like no story to begin with, but
That,
you know,
that is fair.
maybe we should have seen that coming. But for $30, I was like, this is either going to be amazing or I'm going to hate this. So
Yeah.
luckily, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
it was going to be one or the other.
So
for sure.
I'm really excited for the Xenoblade DLC. Also, I have like Xenoblade X play music right now. It's just, I love it.
Dope.
But like, actually, I kind of want them to have an upgraded port of Xenoblade X on Switch next year.
The developer said that they wanted it, and I definitely am hoping for it. Yeah.
This is my personal like timeline. So we got Xenoblade 2 2017. We're getting the DLC 2018. Then the Xenoblade X upgraded port, maybe with some new quests, you know, fix up the game a little bit, and that'll be 2019, right? And then 2020 we may be able to get a new. Maybe I'm being too optimistic, but maybe by 2020 we can get a new Xenoblade game.
Right. I think they'll take 1 year off, like maybe 2020 they take off, and then 2021 they get us a new game.
Maybe, yeah, they could do that.
I mean, it's possible. They pushed out Xenoblade Chronicles 2 really quickly.
Yeah,
So,
it took 2 years.
with like less than half of their team, because most of them were working Breath of the Wild.
Took them 2 years.
But from what I understand, it seems like they're working on 2 projects right now. That medieval one, and then one with like mechs and stuff as well. So it feels like two different
I
projects.
feel like
for
we
me.
could get one of those games by 2020 though.
We could. It could be
Yeah.
possible, because I feel like
Yeah.
they've been working on one of them for a little bit. But the next actual Xeno game, because the one of the games they're working on is not a Xeno game. It's a new IP for them, apparently. That's what we're being told, at least. So like we could see that in 2020. But I wouldn't be too surprised if they took a year off, and I almost kind of want them to, because in a way I feel like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a little rushed. I feel like they could have easily gotten that game to a much higher resolution and frame rate if they had pushed that out a bit. So I just hope that doesn't happen. But I mean, it's still a very great game, and it's definitely playable. But I mean, if it just, you know, waited maybe a little bit longer, we could have gotten, you know, 900p at least, maybe 1080p, because that game's pretty blurry.
Yeah.
So I don't want that to happen again. That's the
Yeah.
one bad thing about it coming out 2017. That game is pretty blurry, and the frame rate can dip pretty harsh sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, we're getting a lot of Xenoblade stuff. I'm pretty excited about the Xenoblade story. I feel like I'm gonna get a second Xenoblade game this year, and
Dude, I know
I
it's
was not
amazing.
expecting
I'm
that.
counting that as a new game. Like when I
That's how
go
I
to
feel
like
about it.
count how many games I'm looking forward to this year, I count as a new game because you literally have to boot up a new save file. If you have to boot up a new save file, that's pretty much a new game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of like screwing around with this stuff right now. Let me see if I move this out of the way. Hopefully that's not messing with the stream. Is it?
I have no idea what's happening.
No, is it? I'm getting ready for the next topic.
Huh?
So I was gonna just kind of like have like a little browser so we can see the Smash Bros website where we talk about the blog.
Right.
Yeah. There we go. We'll just minimize it a little bit, so I'll just put it at the bottom right here. There we go. Actually, I can put it here. There we go. Actually, I'll put it here. Okay. Alright, there we got that. But now this is in the way. I don't know what to do. Everything's in the way. Everything is in the way.
Oof.
Yeah. There we go. You know what? Forget it. We're just not gonna. We're not gonna do this. We're just gonna talk about it because it's a podcast. So, yeah, I'm excited for the Xenoblade stuff. But are we ready to move on?
Sure.
We'll move on to Smash Weekly. This is what you guys are saying in the chat. Let's see. Who's going to main Pichu, Jared? I'm definitely gonna give Pichu a try. I want to see if they're gonna make him like worth it. Like I hope he's like he hits both faster and harder. You know, that would be pretty nice.
I'll definitely check him out, but he's probably not going to be my main. I don't know. It's hard to say though. I kind of take back my statement in the comment. I'll try him.
Mm-hmm. So let's go over Smash Weekly. So Smash Weekly, we're just basically gonna go over all of the announcements that come from the Smash blog. You know, that happened in the week. This is the first time we're doing it, so we might have to start a little, you know, not the beginning. Well, we'll probably cover the beginning. But let's see where we're gonna start from. There's not that many updates, so it'll be fine. So like the first thing they have here on the 14th, right? That was we're gonna get a Pokemon item, a Alolan Vulpix that's gonna be able to freeze fighters with Icy Breath. That, like, I'm kind of interested to see how many new Pokemon they're gonna show off in this game, like, cause there's always been a lot of Pokemon characters in every Smash Bros. Game, so you know I don't know how many they're gonna do, but I mean, actually, here's an interesting question: do you think they're gonna treat Pokemon like assist trophies? Like, are you gonna be able to fight them and hit them and maybe, you know, get a point for beating them?
From what I can tell from looking at the treehouse, they cannot be fought. They pretty much act like Pokemon in the older games.
Okay. I mean, you know, I guess there does need to be a way to just, you should be able to distinguish between assist trophies. But then again, you can't even hit every assist trophy either. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's interesting.
I wish I could bitch slap that Nintendog off my screen because he's so annoying.
I don't like Nintendog. Yeah, that's one that I don't think they should have kept in the game. I think that if anything should have gone scrapped, it's the Nintendog, man. That is
true.
It's just so annoying. It's so annoying.
You can't see. Like I think they should have traded that out. Like
it would have been more interesting for me if they just put a Nintendog in the match and like people were forced to like protect it, and if you hit it, like maybe there's like a crowd that boos at you for hitting a puppy.
Ooh, right?
Yeah,
that would have been good.
Yeah,
but I really think not to try to. Well, I guess I'm skipping ahead here to one of the, if that's okay, to one of the other blog updates we got, and that is they talked more about the Splatoon 2 assist trophy, which is the Squid Sisters. And that like feels like the perfect like change of it, because Nintendogs is like the exact opposite. Like there's just this big dog in the middle of the screen that blocks your view. The Squid Sisters like lowers the amount of view you have, like pushing you towards the center of the stage, lest you like, you know, it also puts the boundary blocks.
Why can't I see the Splatoon, the Squid Sisters update?
I'm not sure. But the boundary box also gets like smaller, so like you can see, but it's harder because you have less room to operate. I feel like that's the exact like opposite of the Nintendogs, where it's frustrating and unfair.
Right.
Like that's very skill focused, and it's kind of in the same vein, like messing with your more of your view and stuff, but it's not annoying and intrusive.
Yeah. Yeah, like I do like how they're handling that. Like that, like when you were talking about it, like that's how I wish Nintendogs kind of was, right? But it isn't. I don't like that part of it. But I mean, whatever. It's just one of many, right? You'll probably be able to turn it off. Like, actually, has there been an assist trophy toggle before? There haven't been, right? Like, there's only been toggles for individual items, but they treat an assist trophy as one actual item. So what if in this game they actually allow you to also toggle which Pokemon you can use and which assist trophies you can use?
That would be very nice. And
yeah.
Oh gosh, some of the Pokemon would be turned right off.
And I don't mind it if it's something that you have to unlock. Because, you know, kind of like finding all the Pokemon.
That was in N64, I think you had to unlock the item toggle.
Yeah.
In the N64.
I personally wouldn't mind that, right? But, or just something, because the thing is...
There's nothing.
Because the thing is, if you have the assist trophy or Pokeball, like, toggle, you can see every assist trophy in each Pokemon in the game, right? And there's just something to, at least with the Pokemon, like, whenever you find a legendary Pokemon, it's like, oh man, I found, like, you know, you actually, like, they're rare. So, you know, I don't want to take away from that by adding a toggle, but I do want them to have the toggle. So maybe they can find a way to both honor, you know, still finding really rare Pokemon or assist trophies, but also, you know, be able to toggle the ones that are really annoying.
Right. I want to toggle for, what's that? The fish Pokemon that literally does nothing.
Magikarp.
That name escape. Yeah, Magikarp. I'm like, yeah. I know it's, I'm like, Gyarados? No, that's its evolution. Magikarp, yeah. So that be turned straight off because it does nothing for you.
Yeah, I think everyone's talking about. Let me see what you guys are talking about. The last game had 21 newcomers. Very likely they go above that number for Ultimate. That's why I think they will get at least 12.
I think most of them are gonna be Echoes, to be honest.
It's a good, interesting question. See, like I went ahead and I counted, how many characters we got from the previous game to this one. I guess a lot of characters were cut. So I don't remember if there was exactly 21 newcomers. That may be the case. But I know that when I went, because I'm working on a roster predictions video, guys. Stay tuned. It's coming out later this week. But from Smash 64, we had 12. Then Melee, we had a total of 26. And if you count every single character, like Pokemon Trainer counting for 3 and stuff like that, I think we had 40 characters in Brawl. And then we jumped to 58 once DLC was accounted for in Smash for Wii U. But obviously, yeah, a lot of characters got cut from Brawl. So I could see how that 21 could be the case. I'll have to double check every single one. So yeah, the 58 total characters, if my calculations are correct, which is literally just counting the characters. But, so we got 14, the roster expanded by 14, expanded by 14, then expanded by 18. But this game, they're focusing on bringing back everyone that's been cut. And we're now at a total of 68 if you count Echo characters. So, like, if you check the Smash Bros. Website, it says 65, but if you count Echo characters, there's actually 68 characters currently. So, how many more characters could we get? Last game we ended at 58, we're currently at 68, and Sakurai said that because they're focusing so much on bringing back old characters, that there wouldn't be as many newcomers. And I do see the point about, like, adding the Echo mechanic. That could allow them to add even more Echo characters so people don't complain, because we kind of want more of them now because of that rebranding, right? I kind of don't want them to go overboard with Echo characters. I'm okay with there being more. I think there should be more, but I don't think they should add like 20 new Echo characters and 3 newcomers. Like that would annoy me. But I mean, if they add maybe like a handful more Echo characters, I'm okay with that.
I honestly think that we're gonna get mostly new Echo characters, and then like a very, like 4, like brand new people. That's what I think.
What I mean, so I definitely have some Echo characters in mind. Like there's Dark Samus, right? There's the Octoling for the Splatoon character. There's Ken, you know, Ryu and Ken, right, for Street Fighter. There's Shadow for Sonic. That's 4 I have in mind. What is? I guess they could do. What's his face? They teased him maybe making him to Smash Bros, but they had him in a cutscene. They made fun of him. He's a Fire Emblem character. He was supposed to make in Smash for Wii U and 3DS. There was a cutscene where Captain Falcon kind of stepped on his head. What's his name? Chrome.
Crom,
yeah. Like I could see him being an Echo character. Like maybe
really
for like
for some reason.
Huh?
There was a lot of people wanting him for some reason.
Yeah, because he's like an important character in one of the Fire Emblem games. I can see him being maybe an Echo character for Ike or something like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So there's that. Oh, actually, Medusa could be an Echo character for Palutena. That's a good point, Phantasm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen gameplay of that.
Jared, according to Smash Bros. Website, Young Link is not an Echo character.
No, yeah, he's not.
Yeah. Which is an interesting debate, right? Because, like, there's Dr. Mario, Young Link, Roy. Like, these characters, Ganondorf, none of them are being treated as Echo characters. But I think over the years, their movesets have changed a little bit. So, like, it's not just kind of like... It's not like one slightly faster, one hits slightly harder, or there's, like, one mechanic that's slightly different. Like, Lucina, right. Like, the difference between Lucina and Marth is... like the amount of damage or potency of their blades, like it's the range. Like if you hit people with the tip of Marth's blade, that does a lot of damage versus like Lucina's blade. It's like kind of like it's
the
not
whole
just a tip.
blade.
It's kind of, but you don't hit as hard.
It's
either.
Weaker, yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, she's pretty much the exact same. Yeah, from what I've heard, from the pretty much the only place they've really talked about it was that. Interview with Game Explained. That's like the only person. They were like the only one who actually asked that I could see. And pretty much the main difference is like if there's one mechanic that's like one or two small mechanics that's changed, then that's an Echo Fighter. But if it's like you know the why, because they asked why Dr. Mario wasn't an Echo Fighter. And apparently it's because not like
some of his moves are
his
actually
run
different.
Speed is different. He's weightier. Yeah, 2 of his moves are different. The fireballs work a little bit different, and his down air is different, I think.
Yeah.
And his run speed is different. His knockback is different, and his damage output is different. So he's different enough to be considered a whole new fighter.
So an Echo character has like very few differences.
Like one, maybe 2 differences, but then you get past that, and it starts becoming its own character.
Yeah,
but the line is very great.
Like it's interesting though, because I remember when Ganondorf was basically an Echo character of Captain Falcon,
right?
And Melee, but every game he's changed a little bit. They've kind of like diversified them little by little, and now I feel like Ganondorf is not at all like he won't feel like a clone at all to Captain Falcon.
He's like, got a sword.
Yeah, his smash tech has sword attacks now. Like I mean, I didn't even feel like he was a clone in Smash for Wii U and 3DS. He already felt really different to me.
I thought he felt a little cloney, to be honest. I thought he felt pretty much like what I'd imagine an Echo Fighter to be.
But I mean, if that's how all Echo Fighters are, I'm okay with that. Because like Ganondorf to me feels pretty different because he's slower and it's really hard, right? While Captain Falcon is super fast. Captain Falcon's one of the fastest characters in the game. Ganondorf is one of the slowest characters in the game. So like
in that way, yeah, he felt different.
Like for example,
felt very the same.
Like if Shadow isn't actually an Echo character for Sonic, like Sonic's super fast, but imagine if Sonic was a little slower, maybe moderate speed, but could hit harder, had more knockback. Like that could be Shadow, and that would be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, that's definitely an Echo Fighter in my opinion. At that point,
but they don't change the moveset, right? Like it may, like maybe like instead of it being blue, like you see like blue stuff, it's just dark. It's like black and red, and like the weight of it's the same. Well, maybe it's a little heavier, right? It's a little harder, but his moveset isn't exactly the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Echo characters, very interesting. They're definitely a great line.
So, we got an update already for Snake. for June 25th.
Ah, finally.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
wait.
Yeah. It says, backed by popular demand, Snake brings a ranged fighter style, brings a ranged fighting style unlike any other fighter in the game. His final smash locks onto an opponent and fires 5 homing missiles. Kind of want to click this, but let me turn off the background music. Let's see if my stream doesn't lag out like crazy. Oof. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. It's like lagging like crazy. It's not lagging, it's just stopping every like 5 seconds, which is I do like what he did with his final smash though.
Really? His other final smash was like pretty powerful, pretty overpowered. It was, if I remember right, wasn't it like you went like off screen and you had like it was either missiles or like a minigun and you just like destroyed everybody.
Yeah, no, that one was really powerful, but now like you don't move around the cursor, it just kind of like picks targets and blasts them.
Right.
So that's way faster.
I do like that about like the final smashes now. Like they got rid of the ones that just took a long time.
Yeah.
Where you could just had this like really long final smash. Like especially like the transforming ones were super annoying. Like supersonic, like stop, like it was so annoying. So I'm glad that they kind of sped it up, and they definitely did that for him too. And it looks like it's decently powerful enough though. Like it's pretty powerful still.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more balanced, I think.
So let me ask a question. When do you think we'll start actually getting like new content from the Smash updates? Like they're like subtle stuff that we can kind of see some new details. But when do you think it's going to be like straight up? Oh, this item has not been revealed at all, or like this is a completely new character that we did not see and even hinted at at E3.
A new character in the Smash blog?
Probably
I don't know
not.
If we'll get a new character.
But maybe what about like a new item or stage?
Oh, I definitely think we'll start getting new stages soon. There's so many stages, and we've seen so little of them. Actually seen them. We've seen like tiny clips of them. Where like, oh, we spotted them in this like one frame of this. You know, the trailer for Mario has like 1 second where he's on the stage that we didn't have confirmed before. It's like that kind of stuff, but there's so many stages like that we haven't seen like good detail. We don't even know what Final Destination really is. So like I definitely think we could see a lot more new stages, items and stuff like that. We're seeing more in detail. Yeah. For sure.
I just saw an interesting point by Phantasm. He said that Tails is in fact confirmed to be a Green Hill Zone background character, but that doesn't mean he's questioning. He doesn't think it's necessary to confirm him automatically as a character.
Yeah, it does.
Well, here's the thing, though. For Link from Spirit Tracks, you could see him in the background, but if Toon Link was playing in the stage, he wouldn't be on the train.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Well, technically, they're not the same Link, though.
But he's not he's not actually in the stage when you pick Toon Link.
Why?
It's Toon Link.
I guess, but he's not Toon Link. He's a different Link. He's like the.
He's technically a different. That is true.
He's a distant.
I didn't play the 3DS version, so I'm just saying what I heard. So if I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what I heard. That Toon Link.
I did hear that Shadow is not in the background anymore. Of this one of the Sonic stages.
Was he ever in the background though? Using
That's what I heard.
I thought it was just Knuckles and Tails that were in the background, and now Knuckles is an assist trophy. I think Shadow was an assist trophy in previous games, and we haven't seen him as an assist trophy yet.
Oh, maybe that's what. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I feel like we'll see, right? We don't know. The same applies for Dark Sans. We don't know yet. I can see them being pretty cool Echo characters, actually. So, yeah. I kind of think that's it for now. Is there anything else you want to address, Brandon?
No.
All right. Well, I'm at least really glad Snake's in the game. You know, since we just got this update, we already knew about it, but you know, since I'm just thinking about it, I guess one thing, I guess there's a bit of a debate in my head. Because Snake is in the game, does that mean we will not get any other sort of Konami representation, right? And I'm questioning if we'll get any Castlevania characters. There's been rumors about Simon Belmont making it into the game, but will Konami have 2 characters, you know, in Smash Brothers?
Right.
I'm skeptical. Like, I like the idea of Simon Belmont being in the game, but I was thinking that might be a possibility since Snake we didn't think would be in the game, but now we know Snake is in the game.
I thought he'd be in the game.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was the only one who called Snake in the game.
I don't know. Maybe
of the people the people I know, I was the only one who called him. Yeah.
But he's in the game, so, you know, anything's possible, I guess, right? So,
right.
It would be cool. Definitely be cool. Well, I guess we'll see. Let's see what you guys think in the chat. Well, being a character background, I think... Yeah, I mean, I think you can get away with a character being in the background, for sure. Like, Brandon, like you said, the Toon Link character in the Spirit Tracks is not the same one. You know, so...
I just don't see how you can... But Tails is the same Tails. Like, he's always the same Tails. Right? Yeah. So, I think that's a little
Tails
different.
would be a good assist trophy.
Yeah. I just... It doesn't make much sense to me. Like, if he's a fighter, why is he, like, just sitting there watching? I don't... Like, wouldn't he want to fight? I don't understand.
I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe they don't care, but they're just like, whatever.
I don't know.
For me, it's just like, why are you just sitting there? It's like, oh, I could fight, but nah.
I'm not sure, but all I can say is that no assist trophy, no character that's been an assist trophy has also been a fighter in the same Smash Bros. Game.
Yeah, that would be weird.
That hasn't happened before, so I'm just saying if I had to place my bets, because, you know, things can change. Like, it's always possible. But, like, for example, because Waluigi's basically been confirmed as an assist trophy...
Oh, he's not a playable character.
He's not a playable character, probably. Yeah, so... But I guess we'll see as time goes on. But anyways, everyone, that's it for now. You know, thanks for listening and watching. Make sure to check out Brandon from What About Nintendo. The link to his channel is in the description below. Do you want to plug yourself anymore, Brandon?
I do have the graphics comparison coming out probably this week, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and if you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. You can check out my Twitter or join the Discord team, so we can chat, communicate, and make fun of people. Oh, we don't really make fun of people, but, you know, you know, have fun, right? Talk about games and stuff. And make sure to check out the channel, guys. I'm hoping this week's going to be a pretty big week for the channel. I have quite a few videos planned. Hopefully I can get them all out. They're going to be pretty cool. But, yeah, again, thank you so much for listening and watching. And I bid you all a good farewell, a great night, and an amazing week. So, bye.
Bye, guys.